As a finance leader, do you get invited to product roadmap reviews, looking at different products that the business could implement over the next few months or few years, and you don't really know what your contribution is, or as a business partner with the product team, again, you don't really know how you can contribute to making the right strategy? Well, that's what we're going through in today's video. Hi, my name's Alysha Randall, and I am a fractional CFO for startups and scale-ups. And I also train new and aspiring finance directors or finance leaders in this space. And today I wanted to focus on how you can help as a CFO with that product strategy and product implementation. So the first one is thinking about the budget alignment and the resource allocation that you have for these particular projects. So thinking about the product roadmap, is that the same as what you currently have within the budget? Or is it with the high level view of what you want the budget to come out at? Generally, you would want the product roadmap, say for the next financial year, to be already pieced together before you start that budget process, where you're working out what you need to do in order to implement that product roadmap. But sometimes with startups or scale-ups, that's not always the case. Either they're at the very early stage and don't quite know where you are at that product roadmap because you're learning new things, you haven't quite got product market fit yet, or you're pivoting slightly to meet those needs. There also may be where the product roadmap is very much set in stone. The strategy is set in stone for the next 3 months, but looking at where you might be in, say, 9 months is very difficult for the business because they are still at that earlier stage. So this is why sometimes you may have already a budget that you're hoping to stick to and hit those strategic goals. However, there's a bit of work on that product roadmap and product strategy. So you just need, it is a bit of a fine balance, but so you do need to do that review to ensure that everything is coherent. So you are thinking about evaluating costs. You are thinking about resource management. How much of a headcount do they need? If it's bigger than the budget, what is the return on investment on those things? And does it fit with the overall business strategy? Number two is those revenue projections and the ROI, so and the return on investment. So where either this could be before budgeting or throughout the throughout your tenure essentially with the business. So often when you're looking at different projects, different products, different channels, different things within the business, you need to make sure that you are hitting the goals in order to implement these projects, but also you want to work out what is the return on investment on something. You don't want to overcapitalize on a project and then not get the return that you're hoping for. And what I mean by this is you don't want to invest really heavily on implementing something, whether that be third parties, software, or internal resources such as headcount, and then not get the return in enough revenue off the back of that project to more than just cover costs, essentially make quite a healthy margin on that. So this is probably why sometimes when you're looking at all of the projects, particularly with tech resource allocation and the things that finance won't get to be done and keep getting pushed down the roadmap, is because the return on the investment is quite low. However, this feeds quite nicely into number three, which is risk management. So obviously with a startup or scale up, particularly that early days, getting product market fit, getting the growth, getting high revenue, finding the market, understanding what those levers are in order to get that growth, you also do need to think about risk management. So often the business, particularly if they're very commercial, aren't thinking about the risks. So this is where the finance leader does unfortunately have to be a bit glass half empty and remind the business of the risk, particularly significant ones or regulatory ones that could really become a problem if they're not addressed early. So identifying what those risks are, and then putting some mitigation or contingency plans in place to help with those risks. And with that may come product improvements, product changes, and also tech resources. So there is an element of return on investment and risk, but you as a finance leader, your job is to help the business maximize its growth and minimize its risks. And then number 4 is alignment with the company strategy. So that is, again, another benefit of being a finance leader is you have that overarching view of the entire company. You can see how everything fits in together. So you should be the one that can see whether certain projects or certain products are in alignment with the company strategy or with the operational goals that you have in place in order to hit those bigger goals. So thinking about that when you're reviewing the product roadmap, are these products, are these projects in alignment with the company strategy, or are they outside? So that should help prioritization and should help you challenge the business to thinking about whether things have strategic fit. And finally, just a note on collaboration and cross-functional teams. As a finance leader, you should be business partnering, or at least your team, if you have a larger team, should be business partnering across the board. So the CFO or a finance leader, you really must maintain those strong communications with other departments, such as product management, operations, and marketing. And this really ensures that there is an understanding with the numbers, there is an understanding with budget resources, and also with your communication with the board and with investors. Okay, so that is an overview of what you should be looking at as a finance leader in product meetings. If you need any further information on how to be a finance leader, we have loads of information below, and don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.